Hi, I'm Lynn Greb, Director of Recreation for Milwaukee Public Schools, and I'm here to talk to you about a journey we are on to increase equity in recreation. Milwaukee Recreation was founded in 1911 by legislation that gave school districts in the state of Wisconsin the authority to levy tax dollars to support community recreation services. So while we operate under the auspices of the Milwaukee Public School District, we have the responsibility to program for all residents in the city of Milwaukee. This unique relationship allows us to host our activities within Milwaukee Public Schools buildings, and as a result, we are able to direct more of our resources into programming versus bricks and mortar, thereby providing the Milwaukee community with the best possible value in recreation programming. We are also responsible for maintaining and programming 52 active play spaces throughout the city of Milwaukee. These play fields typically include softball fields, basketball, tennis courts, playgrounds, and a field house. Most of the sites were constructed in the 1920s and 1930s, and other than routine maintenance, they have not received any substantial updating. In 2014, we completed a comprehensive assessment of all 52 play fields. The results were not surprising and rated 65% of the sites as fair to poor, and identified over $25 million in needed improvements. So we were committed to revitalizing these play spaces, but knowing where to even begin was proving to be a challenge when virtually every site needed work. And that's when I learned about a process that Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board had undertaken to introduce equity into the rating process. And I immediately knew that this was the answer to making our work meaningful and fair. So similar to Minneapolis, we developed a prioritization matrix that emphasized racial and economic equity to determine which playfield projects required immediate action. We used a total of 8 criteria to analyze things like income level, poverty level, and crime rates, population under age 18, as well as adjacent parkland within a 1-mile radius of each playfield. And we also took into consideration the condition rating of each site based on the master plan work. So then we created an equity prioritization index value. It was generated for each playfield, and it provides us with a quantifiable way to evaluate our playfields and ensure our investments are equitably targeted. I'm most proud of this approach that we took because the work is serving to intentionally help us level the playing field. The Milwaukee Public Schools Recreation Department is committed to ensuring equity is infused into the work we do. We are now holding equity trainings for our full-time staff, and we have formed a committee that is focused on increasing equity in recreation programs. We are committed to ensuring that all residents in our community have access to high-quality recreation activities, as well as safe and vibrant places to play. Approaching this work from an equity lens is providing us with the vision to level the playing field in Milwaukee. I feel that as a park and recreation professional, it's our responsibility to really look at the city as an entirety, and areas that need extra investment or extra assistance because maybe the neighborhood doesn't have the voice that other neighborhoods have. It's our job as professionals to come in and help lift that work, and that's what we're doing here in Milwaukee.
Hi, my name is Brian Litzy, and I'm the Manager of Operations for the Milwaukee Public Schools Department of Recreation. The equity plan provides a lot of flexibility. We have the opportunity to work with our community-based organizations and other partners to move certain projects up if we have the ample amount of funding for those projects. Our partners play a huge part in the plan. Currently, right now, we're working with tons of partners, including the City of Milwaukee, HUD, we're working with our sewer district, and we're working with lots of our community-based organizations to help bring this plan into fruition. I think that adds a whole dimension because they have a lot of ownership, and it brings a lot of attention to what we're doing while we're working with partners. Funding is a bit complicated because we are the Milwaukee Public. We do work with the Milwaukee Public Schools, but our funding is separate. We have tax levies that are helping fund these projects, but also, again, as we talked about, we're working with tons of partners to help bring bring funding and opportunities to these partnerships. Also, we've been able to garner some grants to help with this work as well. At this point in where we are with the plan, I think we just want to worry about stabilization. I think our efforts here will help stabilize neighborhoods instead of gentrifying neighborhoods. We want this to be a hub of all of our neighborhoods across Milwaukee, so we're focusing on stabilization and not gentrification. I would like to see everyone having the opportunity to be proud of their neighborhood playfield. I think growing up, a big part of life is saying, hey, I have a neighborhood park that I go to, and I want this next generation to have that opportunity to be proud of where they come from and where their local playfield is. I want people to know that Milwaukee Public Schools Department of Recreation is trying to build a culture of equity around our playfields and across our whole program area, and that this is going to be a part of our way of doing business from now until the end of time.
Hi, I'm Pam Lynn. I am the Recreation Project Manager with Milwaukee Recreation. I'm a landscape architect by training, and my job with Milwaukee Rec is to implement the master plan and equity plan. And typically this is about a 3-year process once we have a project identified. The first year is community engagement, the second year is planning and design, and the third year is construction. And one of the critical pieces of this process is the community engagement. So if you think about our typical park spaces, they were designed 50, 60, 70 years ago. So the neighborhood is different, recreation is different, how we live is different. So really, in promoting equity in these spaces, having the voice of the neighborhood be heard is really critical, and finding that meaningful relationship with the stakeholders and developing community engagement is really important to us. We started this process with our first group of updates about 2 years ago. And in that time frame, we've done 22 engagement sessions and reached over 500 people. And it's not one size fits all really when it comes to community engagement, we've learned. We've done a number of things from ice cream social to events to just being in the park when there's other programming going on to formal meetings where we invite people and do door hangers. We've done door-to-door surveys, we've done online surveys. And the one thing that we've really learned is to have meaningful engagement with the neighborhood, you have to kind of find what works for that neighborhood. To have these projects really be successful, that community engagement and that buy-in and that ownership is really important. I think the one thing people should take away is sometimes community engagement requires persistence, and it's not something you necessarily just do at the beginning of the project or the middle of the end, that you establish a relationship with these neighbors and the community, and it's an ongoing. Part of the process we're looking at is implementing placemaking in our third year. So while a playfield's under construction, we're looking to engage local artists to do things like murals and mosaics, sculptures, and other parts of works where the artist re-engages again with the neighborhoods to really make this, again, a piece for the community. So we're implementing community engagement in many steps throughout this process and keep re-engaging the neighborhood.